Okay. Let me put us in the speaker view. Who'd like to go first? Allison, you popped up first. Would you like to go first?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, we're ready.
Have you ever had dry skin, chapped lips, or a small cut that just won't heal? These are everyday problems that most of us experience at some point in our lives. Because of this, many people look for a simple solution that they can use at home. One of the most common products people turn to is Vaseline. Today, I'm going to talk about Vaseline and explain what it is, how it is commonly used, and why it actually works. To begin, let's first understand what Vaseline actually is. Vaseline is a type of petroleum jelly made from a mixture of oils and waxes, and it has been used for over 100 years and is known for its ability to protect the skin. It actually dates back to Queen Victoria. It said that she's used it to help her dry skin back in 1833. But beyond that, it's one of the most important features that helps create a protective barrier on the skin since it keeps the moisture in while protecting the skin from outside elements. It creates basically a barrier, a thick barrier, so the elements outside can't get into your wound. Now that we know what Vaseline is, we're going to take a deeper dive into what it's most commonly used for. So it's most commonly used to moisturize dry skin and lips. It's we just had a brutal winter, and it's very effective during the colder months when the skin tends to dry out. In addition, it is used to protect minor cuts and burns by covering the area and allowing it to heal properly. It also prevents chafing and irritation since it has an oil base, so it's kind of just a smooth, slippery surface where there's no irritation that can occur. So this irritation can occur from simple things like day-to-day things with clothing. And then beyond that, Vaseline is used for beauty purposes as well. It could be used to remove makeup since it has those oils in there. And same thing with the natural shine. It's said to give you glass skin, very popular on social media nowadays. After looking at its uses, I do want to help you guys understand why it works so well. So it's effective because it locks in moisture in your skin. So instead of taking out the moisture, it keeps the moisture you already have in your skin and just adds more moisture than it already has. It protects your skin from dirt and bacteria since it's very thick substance. And because of this, it creates a better environment for healing since it doesn't have to fight off any of the bacteria that it could get in your wound. Another reason why it's so widely used is because it's safe for more people. It's very affordable. You can find a huge tub for about $5, which is um, this tub I have right here. So now that we've discussed what Vaseline actually is, its uses, and why it works, let's review the three main points that I talked about. Today, I explained what Vaseline is, how it's used day to day, and why it's such it's an effective product for burns and cuts. Even though it's simple, Vaseline has many practical uses that make it helpful at any time. And thank you guys for listening, and I hope you guys understand why Vaseline is a great product.
Okay, so you did meet the time frame, 3 minutes. Okay, anybody want to offer any recommendations or observations rather that you saw with Allison's presentation? Did a great job in the attention getter. Most of you are really getting the attention getter part, and that's good. Now, the central idea. How many how many ideas is Allison talking about in this speech? How many ideas you talking about, Alice? Allison?
I talked about three.
And
Yeah.
how many ideas can you have in a speech?
It's supposed to be one.
One. Right. Now, a lot of students want to always say, I'm going to start out the main point, what it is, what it is, what it is. No, what it is, remember, in that working outline, tell us about your oppressive person, right? Tell us about what you're talking about, getting ready to talk about, right? So, what it is probably something you're going to say in the introduction, right? In that reveal the topic part. Okay. Now, you can fold it in the body as well as supporting materials, but you don't ever really want your main point to be what it is. What is Vaseline? What is this? What is, right? You want to do that up front in the introduction or fold it into the body, but don't make it a main point. Okay. All right, so how might Allison modify that central idea to where it fits with the rules? What were the other two ideas you had, Allison? Why how it works? No, why it works, right?
Yeah, why it works and what it's commonly used for.
What is commonly used for? Okay. Um, what do you think would be a central idea that could incorporate those ideas as one thought that you can present in a sentence? One sentence.
Could I say like today I'm going to talk about Vaseline and its background, or would that not
Okay,
work?
so you're never going to say I'm going to talk about and then say what it is, right? That's way too broad when you say I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about fur coats and their impact on whatever, whatever, whatever. That's two ideas, number one. And the first one is way too broad, right? So, what are you talking about? What really are you going to tell us? What is the real crux of your presentation? What do you want us to know at the end of the speech?
Its uses.
Second?
It like the uses it has.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you could talk about endless usage of the product, right? You could talk about that, and then you could also talk about what was the other thing? Wire hills, right? And you can talk about that as subpoints under a bigger category. Okay, you look. I'm looking at your body language. Understood? Okay, I think some of you got frozen there for a minute. It might have been my internet. Back now? Yeah, back now. Okay. Understood? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm not gonna lie, I was not able to hear anything because you froze on my end too.
Okay, okay. All right. So you said that you wanted to tell us what are the usage, right? What's the usage of Vaseline? What how all these ways you can use Vaseline. You can also incorporate why it works as a sub point, in your usage speech. Okay. Um, so you would start out by giving us the usages. So you said three areas really where it was, right? One was healing or something, right? For healing. What were the three? One was beauty products. One was like healing for like chapped lips or chapped skin. How much did you hear? Because you froze again.
Right up until you said the you said part.
Okay, so your speech is about the usage of it, right? Now, the three usages that you basically talked about were healing, right? Now you could probably stick it in there in the healing part, why it works, right? As a sub point under the main point of healing usage or therapeutic use. There's a therapeutic use for it. Okay. Then what was the second use for it?
I said like beauty use, like
Beauty products, yes. And those were the two things that you gave us for the usage.
yeah, I said the protective barrier and then like the dry skin and like the cuts, all that.
Therapeutic. Okay,
Yeah.
all that comes under therapeutic,
Hmm.
healing, all that comes under that. So now you see how you have this broader picture and how you can incorporate some of the other thoughts you may want to incorporate in the speech. Yes, like again. Um, Now you see how some of these broader thoughts come out as the main point, and then you use some of these other ancillary things you want to talk about. Because just think about it, these ancillary things, you're not spending the same amount of time on it, right? What are you spending the most time on? The usage of it. Remember, we said about your main points, you want to try to spend the same time on main point number one that you spend on main point number two, that you spend on main point number three. If you're not doing that, probably one of those main points, if it's a little bit of, it's not that important. And it probably can come as some type of supporting material under a broader category. Ooh, this is terrible today. I don't know what's going on. Okay, but did you get the did you understand what I was saying? If not, tell me you didn't, and I'll try to make it more clear. You have to know and grasp, oh boy, you have to know and grasp the rules. Okay, if you forgot, oh yeah, I forgot main points, you need to spend the same time on, you need to know the rules. So we started out talking about the specific purpose, the central idea. What are the rules for that? The main points. What are the rules? Then we talked about how the outline should look, how we outline our ideas, how we start out the development process. We start out with these broad ideas. What are we talking about, right? In the introduction. Then in the body, what's the experience? What happened? What do we want to talk about here? And then finally, you would have your conclusion that summarize all what you said before. Okay, we'll go through some other speeches and we'll critique them in that way, so that we can get a better handle and we don't give the incorrect speech. So that you don't give an incorrect speech. Okay, that's very important that you don't give the wrong type of speech, because you need to identify types of speeches in this class. Okay, who's next? Good job, Allison. Who'd like to go next?
I would like to go next.
Okay. We're ready.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten a small cut and reached for rubbing alcohol right away? It might sting a lot, but it actually helps keep you safe. Today, I'm going to be talking about how rubbing alcohol helps treat cuts and why people use it so often. Rubbing alcohol helps clean cuts by killing germs and lowering the chance of infections. Rubbing alcohol is an antiseptic, meaning that it kills bacteria, viruses, and other germs that can get into your skin through a cut and through physical activities. When you put it on the cut, it cleans the area by killing these germs quickly. It get by getting rid of germs, it helps prevent infections and allows your cut to heal better. However, you should be careful using it because it can irritate your skin, seep through your pores, especially if you use it too much or put it on the deeper wounds. In conclusion, rubbing alcohol is a simple and useful way to clean wounds, cuts, and prevent infections. Even though it stings, it helps get your injury clean and protected. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now remember, I'm going to tell you how to handle thank you at the end. You want to say it just before you're closing. Okay? Because why? The main thing you want your audience to know at the end of the speech is not thank you, is it? No. You want to leave them with those lasting words that you took so long to develop for a catchy ending, to leave that thought in their mind once the speech is long gone and over, right? So just before your closing, you can say, if you want to thank your audience, thank you for taking the time to listen to my presentation today. I really appreciate your attentiveness. And in closing, let me leave you with these final thoughts and then say your closing. Okay? You can do it there or you can do it in the beginning. Okay? You can thank the people for, listening, coming to your speech and listening to you. You could do it in the very beginning. Okay? But you don't want to leave your audience with thank you. I know it's a natural thing to say because you're done. However, remember, speeches are deliberate, right? Deliberate. Everything you do is designed to keep that message on track and have it delivered the way you intend for it to be delivered. That's your goal. And you do all these different things that I told you, all these tips, all these rules, all these guidelines to achieve that goal. Okay. Now, tell me a central idea because it sounded like it was two things.
You can repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I said the rubbing alcohol helps clean cuts by killing the germs and lowering the chance of infection.
Okay, that's great. But I thought you said today I'm gonna tell you about this rubbing alcohol and how it does da 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 da. I thought you said it like that, but I could be wrong. All right, the way you said it there, perfect. Okay, and then you proceeded to tell us about those things. Um, and going back with Allison, I do want to tell you good things that you did as well, aside from stay within the time limit. And so, Allison, you had great eye contact, and you did too, Sargi. Very good. And Sargi, you did a good job with your object. keeping it there so we can see it for enough time. Allison, I think you put yours up fast and took it back down fast. So since we're just really focusing on that, it would be a good idea for you to hold it up a little bit longer, like Sargy did. Um, and I told you that your introduction was good. Yours was too, Sargy. At the end, you said that alcohol is a simple and something else way to clean your wounds or whatever. Just say is a simple and whatever the next adjective is, right? But you want to try to stay away from words that lead into persuasion. Because, like I said, certain words, they are relative. So when you say simple, all right, that's relative. Somebody could get on the other side of it to say it's not simple. It's a very complex compound composed of several carbons and oxygens and okay. So be mindful. Don't use leading words, adjectives that are too qualifying that turn your speech in a persuasive direction. Right. Otherwise, you did a good job there. Eye contact, both of you. And the visual was effective. Don't say that. Don't say that. Thank you. Okay, who's next?
I'll go next.
Okay, Matt.
So have you ever thought about how much control you have over a car just by turning the steering wheel?
Hmm?
Um, the steering wheel is one of the most essential parts of any vehicle. It allows the driver to stay in control in the direction of the car safely and precisely. When you turn the steering wheel, it connects to a system of gears and linkages that move the front wheels either left or right. This simple motion is what lets you navigate roads, make turns, and stay in your lane. Over time, the steering wheel has evolved significantly. Early cars did not have advanced systems we rely on today, and steering wheels require a lot of physical effort. But now you use slightly less effort because most new cars have power steering, which uses a hydraulic or electric system to make turning the wheel much easier and smoother, especially at low speeds or when parking. In addition to steering, modern steering wheels serve multiple functions. Many include buttons that allow drivers to control music, adjust volume, answer phone calls, and even use voice commands without taking their hands off the wheel. This improves both convenience and safety. Another important feature with steering wheels is that there's an airbag inside, which is built into the center of the steering wheel in the event of a collision. The airbag develops rapidly to help protect the driver from serious injury. In conclusion, the steering wheel may seem like a easy to use tool, but it plays a crucial role in both controlling the vehicle and keeping drivers safe every time they are on the road.
Okay. All right. So your closing remark kind of really still is part of your meaning of the message, and you got to develop a better closing than to say
Yeah,
what the meaning of the message is, right? You have to
yeah,
develop a better closing at the end. Um, you did say in conclusion, and that's good. A lot of students leave that part out. It's very important for you to let your audience know that you're at the end, and you did that pretty well. Um, your central idea was good. And I just want to say this because I think sometimes students get mixed up when I say you can't have two ideas. So Tell me your central idea again because you did it pretty well. Tell me your central idea.
The steering wheel is one of the most essential parts of any vehicle.
Okay. Okay. But then you said something else too. You talked
Like it,
about
it
safety.
allows the
That
driver to control the direction of the car safely and precisely.
okay. So you said your central idea in two sentences, but it really is one. You should have said because. Now, you did use some of that leading persuasive language. You got to be careful with that, right?
Yeah.
It is the most essential part of the, okay? Be mindful. Somebody else might think something else is more essential. Somebody else might say, oh no, the tire is the most essential part on the car, right?
Yeah.
So you want to stay away from language that's too persuasive. Okay.
All right.
So you could say one major function or part of the car is the steering wheel because it keeps you safe and controls your car, something like that you said, right?
All right.
Now, some people might think those two, and then you started talking about those main points, how it keeps you safe, how you can control the car with it, right?
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are the two ideas that he is making his main points. Some people think, oh, well, Professor, that's two different ideas. No, the idea is the fact that the steering wheel is a major part of the car. These two things of uh, safety and control are why it's safe, right? I mean, it's why it's a major part of the car. It does something that is important, right? So, do you see how sometimes people can get that confused and think, oh, well, that's two ideas? No, that's the reasons why, right?
All right.
Or they could be how something is done if it's in an informative speech, perhaps. All right. Very key that you get these subtle differences so that you're not tempted to deliver a persuasive speech when you're supposed to be delivering an informative speech. Did a good job with the visual, and you did support your points. Now, your eye contact still needs work. You got to work on that. So in your speaking outline, make sure you put that in there. Look at my camera or camera. Some clue that you need to look at that camera. You need a reminder because you get very stuck on your notes and then you don't look at us. So that eye contact is extremely important. Okay. Who's next? Thank you, Matthew. Oh yeah, you could have held up your object a little better. Like you said voila, and then you just got rid of it. Who's next? Three more to go.
I can go next.
Okay,
My
say
connection is a bit poor, so I may cut out because I've been
it.
losing you a bit, but okay.
Don't move around too much, too.
Okay, I'll try. Everybody has a coping mechanism for the stress in their life. Some people run to relax, other people enjoy to read to release stress. I personally relax by practicing yoga. And my yoga mat is essential in my yoga practice, making it a very important item to me. But what is a yoga mat? A yoga mat is a specialized mat designed for, you guessed it, practicing yoga. It's designed specifically to provide a stable, non-slip, and cushioned surface to practice on. And while many people closely associate the practice of yoga itself with a yoga mat, the invention of yoga predates the yoga mat by thousands of years. The practice of yoga is over 5,000 years old and originated in India. Yet yoga mats were only invented in 1982 in Germany. The yoga mat was invented by a British yoga teacher named Angela Farmer, who was teaching yoga class in Germany on carpet underlay to provide more support to her older students in her class. Prior to the invention of yoga mats, people often used towels, blankets, or rugs to practice yoga on. But yoga mats differ from these previous alternatives because they're made from high friction materials such as natural rubbers, making them less slippery and therefore easier to practice on. The rise in popularity and invention of yoga mats in general has entirely transformed the yoga practice as they encourage more challenging positions and a more intense yoga flow.
All right. Okay. Her ending seemed abrupt, didn't it?
Yeah. My conclusion was very weak. I do agree with
Okay.
that.
Okay. Yeah. And now that's a good example we can see when you don't develop the conclusion like you did the rest of the speech. It's very noticeable to the audience. As well, the vocal variety. Like you just left it up in the air. Okay, good, good. You recognize that for sure. Eye contact was good at times. I think you can increase it some more. So work on that. Put it in your speaking outline if you need to a reminder about it. Um, the yoga mat, you did show it real quick. You let it go. The essential idea, I'm not sure what it is. So again, you went in telling us about it. It seemed like you were kind of giving us the evolution or the historical.
Yeah, I thought that's kind of what it was implied to like focus in from the Blackboard description, but obviously not.
Well, I mean, you could. It seems like you could say in a way something like um, the yoga mat has a deep historical um has a you could say the yoga mat has a historical uh yoga mat. The history of the yoga mat, which provides, and then you want to say stress, like release from stress. That's what you were talking about in your story, right? So you're
Yes.
talking about the history of it. You're talking about the value of it in terms of getting rid of stress,
Mhm.
right? What did you have one other thing you were talking about? The
No.
yoga mat? Okay, so those two things. And you could say the yoga mat has a long history of providing stress or relieving stressful situations or whatever. That's
Okay.
what you're basically talking about, telling us about. So think in your mind, what am I talking about? You don't have to say, I'm going to tell you about the history, then I'm going to tell you about this, and then I'm going to tell you about. You don't have to do it that way. You can merely say the things you're going to talk about in one sentence. See how we got that all in?
Yeah.
One sentence.
Okay.
Okay. But you have to make certain that that sentence is going to encompass the main points that you're going to talk about.
Right.
And you don't have to specifically say them all the time. Because again, once we change that from that speaking from that written out central idea to the spoken central idea, we make it a little less wordy and more conversational in tone. Making it easy to listen to, right? Okay, good. Work on that song. All right, who's next? Thanks, Sadie.
I'll go next, Professor.
Okay.
Okay, so imagine holding a camera, a bank, a map, and a calendar in the palm of your hand. With this portable device that was introduced in 2007, it was technology that was revolutionized, and today it's part of our daily life. Today, I want to talk about the iPhone and 4 applications it offers, such as the phone app, iMessage, Apple Health, and Apple Pay. So with the phone app, it allows to speak to anyone that's either close or miles away. It even offers FaceTime, which is a video call that allows for video communication. The iMessage app is an application that works with either through Wi-Fi or cellular data, and it was launched in 2011. Apple Health helps monitor medications, overall sleep patterns, and it was launched in September 17th of 2014. And then we have Apple Pay, which allows contactless payment in a store. In order to use it, we have to double tap on the side button and credit cards and debit cards appear for our use. It was launched in October 20th of 2014. I want to thank the audience for listening to my speech. And in conclusion, we have explored apps specific to the iPhone and how they are used and how it was launched in 2007 and it has redefined technology.
Okay. All right, Lisbeth. Let's start with your eye contact. I think you could improve it some. You did give us some, but I think you could increase it some as well. The visual, you could have really used that phone, especially when you was talking about the features. You could have had that phone up, showing us. You said, oh, you can tap it on the side. You should have been showing us, tap it on the side here. You can do this with it. You can do that. You could have been demonstrating that a little bit better. Okay, now your central idea. I know what you wanted to say, but you didn't say it the way you're supposed to say it. You said, today I'm going to tell you about the iPhone and the features, right? Just say, today I'm going to tell you about the 4 features of the iPhone, which are. Now, I loved your attention getter. Can you imagine holding a bank? Then the other things you said about the phone, a radio, a music box, of all these different things, and that was a very clever introduction. So kudos with that. Again, the summary, I thought you need a lot more help with that. Now, don't say thank you until the closing remarks, not the conclusion, the beginning of the conclusion. So you want to say in conclusion and state your summary statement, right? Which is a restatement of your central idea. In conclusion, you can see the 4 features of the iPhone, whatever, do whatever, right? Then give us the meaning of the message, which you started right in with the meaning of the message, telling us that. So that's good. And then just before you say in closing, or I'm going to leave you with these thoughts, that's when you say thank you. Then give those closing remarks, because those closing remarks should be the last thing you say. So you can say thank you just before that last ending of your speech. Okay. But yeah, the features, that was good. And then we talked about them. Okay, who's next? Good job, Kristen. Who do we have? Linjin, you want to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Today, I want to introduce a small object that I use almost every day, my Yixing clay teapot. My Yixing clay teapot is a traditional Chinese teapot made from special zisha clay. I will start with its history, then talk about its special features, and finally, how I use it dining life. Yixing teapot have more than 5 years of history. They first appeared in the Ming Dynasty in China and are still handmade in Yixing today. The teapot has made special features. It is small, deep dark green, and features beautiful bamboo leaf covering on the body. The most important feature is the zisha clay itself. It is very porous, so it absorbs the flavors of tea over time. The more you use it, the richer and sweeter the tea tastes. In daily use, I simply add tea leaves, pour in hot water, and let it sleep for a few minutes. The teapot keeps the tea warm longer than glass or simple pots. In conclusion, my Yixing clay teapots it's not only a simple tool for making tea, but also a perfect example for external Chinese craftsmanship. Even though it is a small object that I use almost every day, it combines beautiful functions and the sense of tea culture. A little piece of China I can hold in my hands every day.
Okay, I like that. I like that ending. Very creative. Closing.
Thank you.
Okay, good eye contact. You did it within a time period. The visual was effective. You showed us a lot of what you were doing. That was good. Main points were clear, effective, good supporting material. I feel like you needed to work on that attention getter a little more. You started writing, hello everyone. Today I'm going to tell you about my cup. So, like you did that creative ending, closing, you got to do that in the beginning too. But overall, it's very good. Okay. It looks like we lost Nadine and we lost Khadijah. Okay. All right, good job, everyone. So I just want to briefly go over some things that we're going to talk about next week. First of all, definitely your informative speeches. Okay, so the speaking outline is due this week. I believe it's the 4th. The 3rd. The 3rd. Your speaking outline and your visual aids. Now, again, I showed you this last week, right? You need to read it so that you make sure you have everything you need. You need visuals for this speech, right? And you need 3 credible sources. A lot of you did not have sources at all. And this is an informative speech that requires research. So you probably need to read that library tour if you haven't done it already. 3 to 6 people required for that audience. That means no less than 3, no more than 6. Dogs, stuffed animals, all that just doesn't count. That doesn't count as an audience member. Again, the visuals, no total, but now, if you have it in back of you, okay, like I said, and it's really just a background, then that's okay. But you don't want to leave a slide up that is referencing some graph or something, and you've long moved on from that topic and it's no longer relevant. Okay. Again, make those visuals meaningful. Put it in your speaking outline when you're going to show them. So, you know. Okay, that's the type of stuff that goes into your speaking outline. The format is APA format for your bibliography as well. Any questions about that informative speech? Take the comments that I gave you, and when you make your delivery, modify it to the stuff that I told you to modify it to. And you're going to see a big difference in your speech in terms of how it will flow with your audience. Okay? And again, practice, practice, practice. Now, tonight, well, I'm going to say that one for the end. I just want to let you know about next week. We're going to do group informative speeches. Okay, so maybe 2 or 3 people in the group. I'm going to give the links to the articles are already in Blackboard, so have that available. Last semester, one of them was no longer available, so I'm going to have to check that one out, but we might not have a whole lot of groups where our class is getting smaller. But yes, next week is going to be science night, and we're going to deliver a speech as a group. And then you're going to evaluate the speech, your performance, your group's performance, and then you're going to evaluate another group's performance. Okay. Any questions about next week or your informative post that is due on April the 4th? Now, the final thing is that persuasive speech team page. What is your topic? Now, I'm going to share it with you. And then Jen, I did fix so that you could see the answers in chapter 12. Okay. Okay, so this is the page that you have to go in and put your names in. Now, the names and the topics that are in there now, that's from last semester. So you have to go in there and put your name and your topic. Now, do you want me to put you in a group or do you want to make your own group? You tell me what you want to do. I could put you in the group too. All right, I'll put you in the group. Okay. So tomorrow you can go in and look to see what group I put you in. Okay. Now, what you'll do after that, once you go in there and you see who is the group, then you need to contact the people in your group so you can come up with a topic. The working outline is due April the 5th. April the 5th, which is Sunday. Where's the preparation? 12, a week later. Okay. I'm gonna give you till Tuesday. Okay. I'm gonna get no, because I need to look at it too. We'll try for Friday. I mean for Sunday. But just be mindful, the working outline, right? It's just broad ideas. Broad ideas. And now you got 2 or 3 people in the group, probably 3 people in the group. Okay, so the work will be divided amongst everybody in the group. And you will decide democratically which person will do what. Okay. We'll talk about the persuasive speech some more, but tomorrow when you go in, I'll already have you assigned to a group, and then you'll need to contact them. Now, I've showed you this before, but I'm going to show you again how you find your classmates. At the top menu bar, at the top menu bar, click on messages, right? Everybody, can you see it? Okay. Click on messages, and then over in the right-hand corner, new message. So you click that on, and then come over here where it says 2, and there'll be a drop-down menu of all the students in your class. Okay? And then you can click more recipients, and it'll have the rest of the people in your class. Now, if you don't, like, somebody needs to take the lead. So you see your names in there. If you're the first person in there, you see your name in there, then you should write the other two people. We need to come up with a topic. If you have a topic, volunteer it. Most likely the rest of the people in the group will go say, okay, we'll go with that, right? So if you already have a topic, you could suggest it. And then you're going to go back into that team page and write in what's your topic. Okay, by Friday, write that in. What is your topic? You should have it. Well, I'll give you to Sunday to write that in. Okay, and then, like I said, democratically, you will assign various tasks for various people in the class. Now, if you start seeing that somebody is slacking off in your group, let me know. But I want you to continue on. And if the two people in your group are slacking off, then you just continue on and do and present the speech. Sometimes students come back, sometimes they don't, but you will have an opportunity to tell me who slacked off, how much you'll have an opportunity to grade the other people in your group. So be mindful that if you slack off, the other people in your group are going to say you slacked off. Okay, but try not to do that because it only hurts the speech in the end, everybody in the group at the end of the day. So if you commit, you signed the contract, you knew what was being asked of you. So just follow through and be there for your teammates. Any questions about the persuasive speech, group speech that's going to be delivered in class? No? Okay. There is if you all want me to send you a Zoom so you can practice, I can do that for you. There is a way to go in and do a collaborate, like on the side. You can open that up and it's like a little video. You can do that too. Okay, if you want to practice looking at yourself, or getting a group together and practice. Okay. But you are going to have to stay in contact. So tomorrow morning, check out that page and see who's in your group. Because you only have till Sunday to come up with some type of working outline. And don't worry so much about the bibliography for the working outline if you don't have it. Okay. But definitely you're going to have it for your persuasive speech. And that speech requires 6 credible sources. We'll talk about that more later. Coming down to the wire, coming down to the end, you've learned so much so far. You've learned a lot of information about a speech. How many of you are starting to feel a little bit better than day 1? I have a little bit of handle on what's asked of me. I know these parts that I need to include, right? I think everybody knows the parts and the sections that belong in a speech, right? Everybody knows that part. Okay. Just have to work on developing the ideas in the manner in which I instructed you need to do for an effective speech. Okay. But I feel like you all are progressing and you're progressing along. It's going to start really coming together for you. Do this last speech. Okay. Today, next week, we're going to practice some more. And then the next week, practice some more. And it's going to start really crystallizing for you of, okay, yeah, this is a really structured, deliberate process here. It's not just, let me shoot the breeze and whatever pops up in my head, I'm going to say, right? It's deliberate. Any questions at all? Good job tonight. And I will see you next week. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Professor. Good night.